Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
An incident in which an infectious disease is transmitted. The communication of an attitude or emotional state among a number of people. The infection of his enthusiasm for poetry. International law. Illegality that taints or contaminates a ship or cargo, rendering it liable to seizure. Medicine. The invasion of the body by pathogenic microorganisms and their multiplication, which can lead to tissue damage and disease. Moral corruption or contamination. Ambitious men are led astray by an infection that is almost unavoidable. Phonetics. The alteration of a speech sound under the influence of a neighboring sound. The pathological state resulting from the invasion of the body by pathogenic microorganisms. An incident in which an infectious disease is transmitted. Any disease easily transmitted by contact. The communication of an attitude or emotional state among a number of people. A contagion of mirth. The gears that transmit power from an automobile engine via the driveshaft to the live axle. An incident in which an infectious disease is transmitted. The fraction of radiant energy that passes through a substance. The act of sending a message, causing a message to be transmitted. Communication by means of transmitted signals. Sometimes followed by minor or casual or subordinate in significance or nature, or occurring as a chance concomitant or consequence. Incidental expenses. A public disturbance. The police investigated an incident at the bus station. A single distinct event. Falling or striking of light rays on something. Incident light. The activity of communicating. The activity of conveying information. They could not act without official communication from Moscow. A connection allowing access between persons or places. How many lines of communication can there be among four people? Something that is communicated by or to or between people or groups. Unlawfulness by virtue of violating some legal statute. An organic process occurring as a consequence of disease. An organic process occurring as a consequence of disease. Lack of integrity or honesty, especially susceptibility to bribery. Use of a position of trust for dishonest gain. The state of being corrupt. In a state of progressive putrefaction. Lack of integrity or honesty, especially susceptibility to bribery. Use of a position of trust for dishonest gain. Destroying someone's, or some group's, honesty or loyalty. Undermining moral integrity. Corruption of a minor. Moral perversion. Impairment of virtue and moral principles. The luxury and corruption among the upper classes. Decay of matter, as by rot or oxidation. Inducement, as of a public official, by improper means, as bribery, to violate duty, as by committing a felony. He was held on charges of corruption and racketeering. The cognitive processes involved in producing and understanding linguistic communication. A process involved in human language. A state in which you are unable to function normally and without pain. A state in which you are unable to function normally and without pain. A state in which you are unable to function normally and without pain. A process in which an agent causes an organic substance to break down into simpler substances, especially the anaerobic breakdown of sugar into alcohol. Medicine, the development and spread of an infectious disease, especially one caused by a fungus. An infestation with or a resulting infection caused by a parasite of the genus Schistosoma, common in the tropics and Far East. Symptoms depend on the part of the body infected. The presence of pus-forming bacteria or their toxins in the blood or tissues. An infection of the oral pharynx and tonsils by Streptococcus. Roused to anger. Sore over a remark. Hurting. Causing misery or pain or distress. It was a sore trial to him. An open skin infection. An infection with Staphylococcus bacteria, usually marked by abscess formation. An infection of the oral pharynx and tonsils by Streptococcus. An infection of the oral pharynx and tonsils by Streptococcus. An infection of the oral pharynx and tonsils by Streptococcus. A pen for swine. An infection of the sebaceous gland of the eyelid. An infection of the sebaceous gland of the eyelid. Infection that occurs while you are being treated for another infection. Secondary infection caused by an opportunistic infection. Intestinal infection by a species of parasitic tapeworm, usually the result of eating inadequately cooked meat or fish. An acute and serious infection of the central nervous system caused by bacterial infection of open wounds. Spasms of the jaw and laryngeal muscles may occur during the late stages. A sustained muscular contraction resulting from a rapid series of nerve impulses. An infection of the oral pharynx and tonsils by Streptococcus. Infection caused by parasites transmitted to humans from infected cats. If contracted by a pregnant woman, it can result in serious damage to the fetus.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.